You're listening to the Court of Public Opinion for March 10th, 2017. You know, when we read stories on the internet, you can trust and verify. To me, I think that's important. I also would always take extra additional precautions before you ever post or repost something. I look for cases that already been prosecuted to some degree. We could learn from those things. And the story about the pedophile bus, as long as those are verified through the court system, I think you can actually make a good case. But right now, I think what they're doing is they're looking at people who are posting it, and let's just look at it from a neutral position. There are story after story of assault cases, abuse cases that have been reported. Some of them actually have real evidence, and they're going forward in court. That's why you're seeing a lot of the stories that have been reported in several different news stations, as far as like California, throughout, other states. I think there's other communities that you hear more and more about reports of child abuse, rape, pedophile rings recently. Huge, huge bust. I think just recently in California, there's a massive bust, and then there was one here in Pennsylvania. It was up there outside of Philadelphia. I think it was actually north of Philadelphia. So these cases are actually really happening. But I would just caution those people that if you're looking for real information that's of substance, I mean, there's a lot been exposed, but I would just caution, always leave room for, just be careful, because everything out there on the internet has to be verified. And I would just look at it this way. If you look at this information and get around people that actually understand the law, understand the court system, because there is a report process, and there are people that are going to sit here and say, well, it's these people, they're exposing these pedophile rings. I don't know that that's going to stop outside of what goes on here on the internet. I would just say, if you're a group of investigators, get together with your investigator groups, because outside of the internet, I don't see how much longer it's going to go on. I just don't. That's just personally my opinion. But the evidence going through a court system, and I had reported about this earlier, is that we've been through the court process, and it's not. I'm not afraid of the court process. I would hope that if we ever went forward with a case, we better have our information correct. We better just not make any false charges. We better make sure our case is ironclad, and going forward, you prepare your case with other advocates. When you have an army of advocates who are working on cases individually or together, and when you're well prepared for court and your case is solid, then you have a case that there's no, other than maybe other things that could happen, but I don't see how good solid cases can go further than, you can't go any further than having a good solid case. That's just my opinion. I mean, I just see a lot of people that are reporting about it, and I just would caution, for legal purposes, to look out for yourselves. Be careful, be wise, be smart. Don't go accusing people of anything. Be careful, be careful, be careful. It's not worth it. You don't want to, first of all, you don't want to destroy yourself. You don't want to destroy the integrity of the case, and you're doing all the right things according to what I believe the law still has. There's still things in place that will prosecute cases like that. And there are things that have worked in the past, and they continue to work, so I wouldn't be worried about that. I'd be more concerned if somebody was obstructing justice and trying to impede an investigation, because there have been ongoing investigations, and you got hawks now watching everything. They're not going to let anything slip by, and they shouldn't. That's just personally my opinion. And I read the news story about how Mark Zuckerberg's reporting people that are investigating. Actually, I don't see anything wrong with that. That's like opposite of what I'm concerned about. I'd be concerned about the deeper, darker things that are coming out, and that to me concerns me, because as barred from some people, the hole just seems to get only darker. That's the truth. So I was just, to make light of that, I just wanted to remind that those people who genuinely are trying to do the right thing, that they're looking at all sides of this issue. They don't go into this with their blinders on. They're looking at the whole circumstances, and you realize the seriousness and importance of going to court. And I wouldn't miss a court date. If you have to go to court and you know you need to be there, or you know that there's a trial or there's an indictment or any of those things, try to get to the court hearing. Go, sit in, just hang around at some of the court hearings and watch these cases if you can, if it's public. Or, just look into it and find out what's going on in the community. That's how you can change this. I don't know that there's some people on one end, they're investigating it, and that's one end. I would go a step further, and I would look into awareness projects. That's how you can stop it, because I don't know what's going to happen from this point, but I know the awareness projects and getting involved in your community, asking those questions, because you'll be surprised probably how many parents don't have the support they need, or in some shelter programs where I know there's some cases right now where there have been children that have been abused as a result of some of the programs, so there's all kinds of cases going on. It does not hurt some of you to go, find yourself asking questions. I would take it a step further and become a legal mediator and advocate. That's how I look at it. That's how you can help these programs. That's how you can do, or give to a program that is trying to do something to change it. And if you can verify that all these programs are legitimate programs and they're not just phony cases and front groups or any of that stuff that you go in, it just seems like you have to get through a lot. Nowadays, anybody can start an internet, anything. So you do have to, kind of weed out some of this. That's just basic common sense, though. I hope people use their common sense more or less. It's not worth losing your future over it. If somebody gets caught up in something, I caution a lot of people, be careful about making accusations. Be careful, be careful, be careful, because, it's another trap. There's so many traps, and that's all. That's how I see it. And, to make light of this, there's this been incredible weather event just been occurring, and people have been watching how it would go from 70, now it's like 15 degrees. So, and there are some things on this that's why I kind of did 2 in 1 here, the Court of Public Opinion. But on the third watch part of this, we watched some of the weather, been following this trend. And if you were following like previous posts in the past where we were reporting about that there was going to be, I don't know, they call it like a wave of energy, if anybody knows more about it, and how the Earth's crust is, I guess, heating up, if you would call it that, because of the atmospheric compression. But there's outside, because of these, they say, solar winds, and if the solar winds would push away the radiation, it's the radiation that is causing the problems, because for some reason or another, and I'm not, like I said, I shouldn't even go on much more about this, but this is just what we've been learning more about. I've been following BP Earthwatch and Stan Deo. We were just in the middle of a major windstorm, and I also listen to Mike Around the World, and we're talking about these straight line winds. Well, we experienced some of it, and some of you experienced. And then in Missouri, there were some other tornadoes, and then a couple weeks ago there was tornadoes in Texas. And this is February, okay? So, but the thing to watch for, and this is why we have the watch updates, is that these straight line winds, the weather where the wind is going sideways, like they're talking about tornadoes going sideways, this is what to watch for. The storms and the weather, the winds are going to increase. They're talking about getting people more prepared and things like that. I think that's wise to do. Actually, when I was doing topics like the field report, we were paying attention more to more of prepping and urban prepping, and I got away from it. I was to be honest with you, I've been pretty consumed with this other story here. It's really hard to walk away, just talk about the weather, to be honest with you. I'm trying my best. I'm not doing a good job of it either. Actually, I'm so personally, I've been so far removed from a lot of things since we've really looked into the stories like Jerry Sandusky that actually it's affected me. That's why I had to stop doing the field report and stuff. I have to take a break. It's exhausting. I've spent hours and days trying to funnel through so much, and I've cried a lot. I don't know how else to say it, but I was just at the store the other day. I'm talking personally to you guys. I was at the store the other day. I was looking at these kids' clothes at the thrift store. And innocence has been stolen from these kids, and that hurts a lot. You know, of all the things I've ever been through, I was not ever a victim of child abuse, and I never had to worry about being molested, anything like that. I mean, we went through things. I mean, but I'd say, compared to what these kids are going through, we didn't go through. We got spanked, got in trouble. Very rarely did we get in trouble. My dad was not hard on us at all. My mom was pretty lenient. Actually, too lenient. I think my parents were very lenient, very fair. They did try very hard. They got into their own things, of course, as parents do sometimes, but, you know, to hear about kids being abused to the degree. I can't have kids, so I don't personally understand how anyone with children could. I've heard stories where women are selling their kids online for prostitution. I don't even know how to even put the word. I don't even know how to even report that. Really don't. I don't even know how to say that. In all fairness, I don't even know what to say. I try my best. I can't even get the words out. So, I apologize for trying to talk about the weather, because I don't know how else to divert myself from this. But it's a beautiful day. And anyway, so I hope you guys take the extra precautions. That's my main concern. I don't want to see people lose friendships unnecessarily or be consumed by stories that, of course it would consume you. Of course it would. It's very hard to have confronted this personally and not forget that sound. So to me, it matters. To hear a screaming child I will never stop looking for justice for kids, or at least try my best. Thank you.